Hey, Planeswalkers, Mythras here. Hope you're doing well and staying safe. Welcome to today's episode of Top Deck. We are covering a top 100 Jeskai Spells deck. I believe the deck is roughly around 180 when I saw Holy Diva post that, so congratulations Holy Diva on hitting that rank. Now, I appreciate everyone tuning in. We do have a lot coming your way today, so please feel free to check out the list and the links down below. Timestamps are there for you where we're going to cover the strategy objective of the deck, quickly go over the deck list, cover the sideboarding for you, and then we're going to go into best of one and best of three competitive play today, and then we'll circle back and we'll discuss kind of where this fits in the meta and some final thoughts there for you. So Planeswalkers, with that said, truly I appreciate your support as always. Please feel free to subscribe down over there to the channel, and feel free to like the video if you like it as well. So let's go ahead here. We do got a lot going on. So this is a Jeskai Spells deck. That's the blue, the red, and the white color schemas giving us Jeskai. Now, big piece here is we're really only splashing for white in the main board for Showdown of the Skulls. So this piece is a huge one. We've seen it in a couple aggro decks. It's interesting to see it in a spells deck. I'm pretty excited to give it a shot. So here we can exile top 4 cards of our library until the end of our next turn. We may play those cards, and whenever we cast a spell for the 2 and the 3 there, we can put a +1/+1 counter on target creature we control. So very, very powerful there. A lot that we have going on that we can do. Now with that, the spells decks is really about doing 2 things. It's controlling the board, either by direct damage or by counter spell magic, and that's exactly what we got going on. And then we also have other things on the board like Rill Form, where we can slowly deal chip damage. We have some direct damage, and then the biggest one always here is Sprite Dragon. This guy's got a flying haste. Whenever we cast a non-creature spell, we get to put a +1/+1 on this bad boy, and then go from there. Now we have other support at the top end here to kind of close things out, and Stormwing Entity is one of my favorite cards too, particularly I guess from the blue from M21 here. I really like this card. It costs 3 less to cast if we cast an instant or sorcery spell, so you can get this down for pretty cheap, and then when it enters we get that nice fixing there as well. We've also picked up the pathways here, Mistgate pathway and Hengegate pathway here, enabling this deck much more for us here today. So the other thing about this is when we do cover the sideboard, we see that we do have some additional splashing. The other call out particular for this deck is there is a ton of one-offs. So as many of you know, I'm a huge fan of that. But at the flip side of that, we also create a lot of potential in terms of inconsistency. So just a lot to keep an eye on. Obviously, there's a lot of things that we could always add in, like other crushers or brazen borrowers, shocks. You could get a little bit more in terms of the modal lands here if you wanted to as well, to kind of help you with some of the flooding. We do have 21 lands, which is pretty healthy. Add these in there. I would also suggest potentially going the 2-drop counter spell in the blue as well on some of the modal lands to kind of help you at least certainly early game kind of a deal as well. So that could be some suggestions. Obviously, I did not take this to the top 180 there, so Holy Diva did, so congrats again. So now let's go ahead and dive into this deck list a little bit more. So we picked up a null. This is counter target artifact or enchantment spell. We got the Ops, which is scry 1, draw a card. We got Stern Dismissal again from Theros here, so return target creature enchantment an opponent controls to its owner's hand. We have Shock, 2 damage to any target. The Spikefield Modal, 1 damage to any target. If a permanent dealt damage, so it would die, we get to exile instead. We got Disdainful Stroke again from Kaldheim, so we get a counter target spell with convert and a cost 4 or greater. We got the Negate, counter target non-creature spell. What's pretty sweet is if you guys look at this art and this art, they look pretty close, kind of there. I like it. Anyway, Riddle Form we talked about. Whenever we cast a non-creature spell, we may have Riddle Form become a 3/3 Sphinx creature with flying in addition to its other types until end of turn. We can always scry there. Unsubstantiate here, return target creature or return spell or target spell or creature to its owner's hand. Royal Eruptions, Zendikar's Rising, we kick the sucker. It either deals 3 damage, or if we kick, it deals 5 instead. We got Shred Sails, destroy target artifact, deals 4 damage to a creature with flying, or cycle 2. We got the good old Sprite Dragon that we talked about. We got Shatterskull Smashing again, this modal land. X damage divided up to 2 target creature and or planeswalkers. X is 6 or more, double that damage. Brazen Borrower, we can use its Adventure, Petty Theft there at instant speed. We can return target non-land permanent an opponent controls its owner's hand, or we get a flash flying 3/1 flyer, not flash flying, 3/1 flyer. Can only block creatures with flying. Bone Crusher deals 2 damage with its Adventure there, instant speed. Damage can't be prevented this turn, 2 damage. And then it's a 4/3 body, and then whenever it becomes a target of a spell or ability, deals 2 damage to that spell's controller. Royal Scions is a planeswalker that we have here. So it's +1, draw a card, then discard. Our +1 also second time here is target creature gets +2/+0 and gains first strike and trample until end of turn. And then last but not least, draw 4 cards for its down 8. When we do, the Royal Scions deals damage to any target equal to the number of cards in our hand. And then we got the Showdown of the Skulls like we talked about, and Stormwing like we talked about as well, but this guy's a flying prowess guy. So prowess is whenever you cast a spell, it's that a non-creature spell, it will get a +1/+1 for the end of that turn. Then we talked about that scrying. Very powerful in the lands here. One call out here is I am missing 1 Mistgate Pathway. This does run 4. I threw in the Temple of Enlightenment for this one, so I'll make sure that list is corrected for you guys. So that's the main board. So let's go ahead and talk about the sideboard now, because again, we got tons of stuff here. Giant Killer, this guy destroys target creature with power 4 or greater. 2, we can use the tap down. So I'm going to play this against really kind of the Gruul aggro decks, also other kind of mid-rangey decks. There's a lot of big creature decks right now. You could even consider some of the Tibble Trickery ones that we played yesterday. You guys can check that video out if you'd like, with the mono white Lifegain deck that we did. Anything that's really running creatures, this is going to be a nice one for you. Also, even against just aggro decks, a 1/2 body is still going to help you. A null counter target artifact or enchantment spell. This is going to be helpful against some more of the late game decks. Also, it's going to work against decks running Great Henge. A null is a very, very cheap spell here. So keep that in mind. So things like Mono Green Stompy, as well as that Gruul aggro deck that we talked about. Red Cat Melee deals 4 damage to target creature or planeswalker. If a non-red permanent is dealt this way, you sacrifice land. This one works really well against mono red, so keep that in mind. The snow decks are certainly something you're going to see in best of 3 now a lot. Additionally, this runs really well against the Gruul aggro decks. You may want to consider this too for a few other creature-based decks if you need, because we can always get rid of that mana if we have to. Soul Guide Lantern here is going to be your friend when it enters. Graveyard Hate Friend, when it enters, exile a card from a target graveyard. So it can be yours if you need. Sacrifice it, exile each opponent's graveyard, or you can pay 1, sack it, and then draw a card. Great against the sack decks right now, those Jund ones. There's also some Rakdos ones floating around, so keep those in mind. The Immersion Dragon, if you need to get rid of some stuff out of your deck too, just it's going to help you there. Works well against other escape decks that you may run into. It could help you against some of the Doom or Esper decks that may be pulling back from their own graveyard as well, and then obviously helps shut down rogues. Drannith Magistrate. So I'm super excited to see this one here. So our opponents can't cast spells from anywhere other than their hands. This guy's a huge counter against other showdown decks. A lot of people miss that. So just a huge call out there. So Holy Diva, nice work on throwing this one in there. I think I told Delmo this one too, if I recall. But keep in mind, everyone, that this one really helps you. It also shuts down the Foretell mechanics. So very, very big and crucial there. So this is something that you could play against the Izzet Tempo deck that we did the other day. Last Casket here enters the battlefield, exile target creature and opponent controls for a mana cost or less till this leaves the battlefield. Great against aggro decks, mono red, Knights decks, Mardu Knights, Boros Knights, Warriors decks if you still run into those. I have seen a few of those floating around. This is good against mono red, and then Gruul aggro, lots of creature-based stuff. Then we got Disdainful Stroke. So counter target spell with converted mana cost 4 or greater. So what you're going to do is you're going to play this against any deck that's running 4 or greater cards. So this could be Temur Ultimatum that we did the other day. Those are good ones. Also anything running the Doom deck still, Yorion decks, those kinds of things. Ugin decks, Ramp decks, that's going to be your friend. Essence Scatter, counter target creature spell, creature-based decks, obviously. Primarily more on the aggro side. Cinderclasm, same thing here. It deals 1 damage to each creature. If it was kicked, it deals 2 damage to each creature instead. This one's actually nice against the mono white aggro decks, also mono white Lifegain decks. Good against the token based decks. like that you do see in that mono white aggro that I talked about, also will help you kind of close things down against a Gruul aggro deck as well. Mystical Dispute here, we get a counter spell, 2 less if it's countering a blue spell. It's a slip if our opponent pays 3, they can get out of it. You're going to run this against any blue deck. Mirror Match works great. Izzet Tempo works great. Any of the Foretell decks as well, Cosima decks, those kinds of things. Then we got Phoenix of Ash, Flying Haster, +2/+0 to end of turn for 3. Exile 3 other cards, pay 4. This escapes with a 1/1 counter. Run this against the Rogues decks, and you guys have seen me pull these in too against other decks when we just need creature damage pretty quickly, so that could also be a chance. Then Ox of Agonis here, this guy enters, we discard our hand, draw 3 cards, great against late game decks. Exile 8 other cards from our graveyard, pay the 2 there, and this guy enters with a +1/+1 counter on it. So again, similar with Rogues decks, this one's going to be your friend. So that is the sideboard, my friends. We got tons of options here. And so let's take a look at how we look at it in terms of aggro, mid-range, and late game. So the aggro stuff, like I said, Giant Killer is not a bad one. Red Cat Melee is not a bad one. Dranith Magistrate, actually, if you need that blocker. And then Essence Scatter, Cinderclasm can be your friend there as well. So you get, let's just say 4. You get a good range there. What I would look to do is get rid of a Null, to be honest. Even though this would be a good counter for Cleave, you can keep that in mind, but you could play some other hard counters like Negate instead if you wanted to, because then it's a little bit more broad as well. Stern Dismissal is still going to be good. Disdainful Stroke you'll probably get rid of. Unsubstantiate I don't mind, but that's one that you could remove as well. Shredded Sails could be one that you move out. And then that's going to should be enough to get you that 4 slot, like I said. Other things that you could look at too is, obviously we like the Riddle form. You could consider, still like Brazen Borrower here, but if you want to go a little bit slower too, or get a little bit more quicker, you could always pop out a Stormwing Entity and really focus on this space. This one's going to be big, just kind of on delaying things if you need to. Next, when we get into the the mid-range lineup, again, similar to the aggro, you'll keep the more creature-based decks the same. You'll probably pull in Red Cat Melee. You may actually throw in Glass Casket. I might have missed that one on the other one. You're probably not going to play Cinderclasm though against that, so just keep some of those things in mind. Same kind of area that I would target in terms of moving things in or out. You could always drop out a Showdown of Scalds here too for that aggro, but when we get in that mid-rangey lineup, if they are playing similar creature based, if they're not, then we're going to begin to kind of look at it a little bit differently. Here we're going to want some other counters. You're probably going to play Soul Guide Lantern. You're probably going to want the Disdainful Stroke. You may want the Mystical Disputes as well, and then you may even want to move an Ox of Agonis depending on what they're playing. And then you're going to look to kind of optimize in this space. Again, if you don't need the Annul, Stern Dismissal you might not need as well, because they might not be playing a ton of creatures. And then Unsubstantiate could be something too. So that's going to give you enough to kind of move things around. Again, then you can kind of think about Brazen Borrower if you want to get something out of there if you're worried, depending on what they're playing. Also, it's a good 3/1 flash flyer in, so keep that in mind if they're playing like an Ugin or something like that. You could always change up on the top end as well. Then last but not least, when we get into the late game decks, these are like the mono black controls. Big Red's still around once in a while, you'll see that. You're certainly going to hit the dimmer control stuff. You guys have seen me play a few of those. You might hit the Sultai Emergent stuff. Ultimatum decks kind of straddle that mid-range to late game. What would I look to do if you are playing kind of that Doom deck? These Annulls are certainly nice for you. If you're not, then you're going to want more of those hard counters like Disdainful Stroke. You may want that Dranith Magistrate to kind of shut down some of the Foretell decks. You're probably not going to need that. Mystical Dispute's probably going to be a good one, and then you may want to consider some of those. And then what I would look to move out, again, is Annul, Stern Dismissal, as we talked about, Unsubstantiate, potentially Negates you're probably going to want to keep. Shred Sails you may not need. So that's kind of, again, similar spots, and then you could always look at these ones depending on if they're creature-based or not, to kind of give you an idea of how to move around. So Planeswalkers, with that said, that is the aggro, that is the mid-range, and the late game lineup here for us today. Let's go ahead and hop into some competitive Magic with our top 100 Jeskai Spells deck by Holy Diva. All right, So with that, we are going to go right at it and play our standard rank. So yesterday we did that top 100 mono white Lifegain deck, super fun, had a good run. Today we got our top 100 Jeskai Spells deck. Planeswalkers, I think I forgot to mention as well. If you do have questions or comments throughout the video, please feel free to let me know down below. Happy to help. You can also hop into the Discord server. We got MTG Maddie here that will be playing. I will actually keep this. Our opponent's going first. So do that, and then as always, huge thank you. Truly appreciate your support. Please feel free to subscribe down over there to the channel. Additionally, like the video if you like it. Let's go ahead here. I will do this. We don't need 4. We got plenty of lands. Let's see here. Oh, Robber the Rich. That's fine. We'll take that thing off now. We got a few things we can play here. Now, just to recap, we did talk about the deck list, the strategy of this one, and so forth. So this is where you'd want that board wiper. That's going to certainly be your friend. We can do a couple things here. So I'm going to keep that guy there. I'm going to hang on to that. We'll do a double red. We'll see what they play. We'll take that guy off the board. We'll take the 1. So we can push him back, or we can hit him with Royal next turn. I'm going to save myself a turn. And then we'll bring him in. Go with our opt. So let's see here. MTG Maddie. We don't have a ton of stuff here right now that we can do. If we get Showdown on and get an extra land next turn, that's gonna be pretty big. Ooh. Let's do this. We'll take a look and get rid of that. There we go. I'm okay with that though. We can return there if we need to. Let's do this. All right, so we'll play this one first. So we need to decide here how we want to do this. So we can certainly play something there. We can scry one. We can play the land. I will make Stormwing smaller. So 1. Let's see. This removes 3. So we got a 5. It'll be a 2-drop. 2-drop. Then we can burn off Annex. So let's do that. We'll keep that. We can play our Stormwing. Let's do that. Actually play a second Stormwing if we wanted to here, which would be pretty big as well. If they have Cleave, that's going to be a problem. I'll grab a red. I think we let that go. I think we do this. So we can hit 2 with Shatterskull Smashing next time. So they're going to have a cleave. I have to block there. No, no. Alright, so no creature. So if we go 3, that's not going to help us. So I need to go... What can they pull that back? They got 5 in there, they can. That doesn't help. Let's see. It's not going to help us. We can flip that guy back, I guess. We'll go 2. All right. There we go. We need to get something on the board here, creature-wise. Oh, that's a bummer. That would have been nice. We'll stick with our red here. So let's look. It's not what we need. And let's dig. Oh! So we get the riddle form though. That is going to be game for us because we can't do anything. Can't do anything. Oh, bummer. Too many creatures. Too many creatures for us to deal with here. Alright, we'll call it. They got it. Alright, on to the next best of 1. Little tough there. You know, it's actually kind of what I was expecting. There's too much of a mix of stuff in the best of 1. And going to be tough for this deck against some of the aggro decks. But if we would have had the sideboard available to us, I think it obviously would be a much different game in terms of how we would approach that. So Papa Don 1031. Let's see how this goes with Papa Don. So this time we got Scalds. We got plenty of stuff here. I got my 3. I'm going to try it. We can go look. We can return and deny. Ooh, there we go. So it looks like we got something interesting. Could be tempo. No. So we'll go with our blue. So we got a few things. No counters though. So we'll look. You're welcome to counter that. I don't want another one of those. I will deal the damage here. So we haven't seen anything. I want to put some pressure on him. So we could have waited. We could have threw that back to their hand. So they're playing the tempo deck, which is fine. Ooh. Let's see if we can get this guy on the board. We need the mana. We're a little problematic here. So Stern Dismissal, we can always pull our guy back as well if we have to. Here we go. That's a little bit better. I may try it. Probably going to get hit with something here. And you can always hit your own there too. We'll hit that back. Unfortunately, I don't have anything that I can pull back here. Probably would have been better to play Brazen on their guy, but at least leaves us one open with a null here if they play something else. I may keep that for now. Need some lands. Do we do that? We can do that. Can't return. Well, we can do mine. So that's 2 counters. If they go that route. There it is. Yeah, the tempo deck. A lot more consistent. Oh. They have enough mana to counter, but hopefully they used everything up. Nice, there we go. Ho, 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 ho. We got plenty of that. This is going to be problematic. It's going to be close, though. They got way more counters than we do, and better control in this deck, I think. We had a lot of dead cards here. A lot of dead cards. Non-land card. Can't hit it. Can't hit it. There you go. Let's play the Scalds. Alright, so what do we got? Blue, red. So we can get 2 Scalds. Oh, good game. Oh, they tapped the Haven, though. Oh, they got it. All right, good game. What's interesting is Holy Diva ran this at 80%. So good for them. I am quite surprised, actually. But that's all right. Again, it was best of 3 though, but generally best of 1 gives you a good taste on some of these things. All right, let's go ahead here. We'll play one more best of 1, then we'll pop in a best of 3, and hopefully the boarding's going to make a huge difference, which it will. But I would think that we're probably going to be off to a bad start. Let's keep that. I shouldn't say off to a bad start. I should say off to a more, I'm going to wait on that, uphill battle at times just because of the consistency of this. I do like Showdown the Scalds in it. All right. We're going to have a challenge here. Have to get this thing off the board. I should have used Opt. But that's all right. We'll see if we can pull through here. Very problematic. Again, that we did not hit the mana that we needed. That's all right. We'll have to make a comeback. Can we do it? Certainly. If they get Sun Crowned, we're going to be in a problem here. Oh. Let's see if we can hit a land. So we hit a land. I'm gonna get real risky. Oh no. We hit a land, but it was tapped. So many lands to go through there. We'll block. It's not going to matter. Elseid's going to be a 3, and then we're not going to have anything even worse now. Shredded Sails, we could have killed it. Wow, again, nothing. We can at least kill that thing, I guess, huh? Whoops. That was a misread. We're back in it. We are back in. Flying V, you let me in on my 2 mana. Oh, you got 2 of them. Good for you. Ooh, here we go. So I will attack in here. They still need quite a bit there. I cannot... If I get through this on 2 mana, man... Oh, come on. Give me another mana. We've, like, hit so many. So many. I guess I should have kept that 2-drop, huh? Or the one that would have came in tapped. So this will at least slow them down. So that they can't do, 27 health here. They'll still be able to play Sky Maul. Nice. Nice top deck, probably. What do we have? We have nothing that we can use to win this match. Literally all they have to do... Well, actually, that's not true. I take that back. That's not true. They would have to top deck something to keep Heliod Suncrowned here. So let's go with the blue. Well... Yeah, because if they sack Elseed, we're okay. It's not going to come back as that. It's a tough choice. I think we'll go with the white. And I can't kick that anyway. It's going to be 3. They'll bring it back. We'll make our guy bigger, I guess. We'll just take this thing off the board. All they got to do, though, is add the Maul onto that. It still works. Yeah, it still gives them the token. Yeah, I should have known. I haven't played enough Broodmoth lately. Yeah, they had Doxos anyway, so it wouldn't have mattered. It's... If we would have had the mana early, we actually had enough stuff to deal with this deck. But that is how it goes. So we got smashed today, you guys. Not good in best of 1 at all. Really, really not. So let's go ahead here and go into our best of 3 match. Standard traditional ranked. There's the top 100 deck. Again, today's top 100 Jeskai Spells deck. Hopefully we can recover in the best of 3. So those of you joining at this point in time, best of 1 was not our friend today. Absolutely not. Did not go well. We lost 3. We lost to a tempo deck. We lost to a mono white. We lost to a mono red aggro snow deck. We're going to play first. But as always, Planeswalkers, I truly appreciate your support. So please feel free to subscribe down over there. Like the video if you like it. You can also like me on Facebook and follow me on Twitter and Twitch. I'm going to potentially keep this just for these 2. So we did not run well. I like the Skulls in this deck. has not shown the value that we were hoping to get. Again, small sample size, but the spells stuff was not strong in the last Zendikar Rising stuff too. So actually, we're gonna play this first. Uh-oh, is it gonna be another tempo here? We'll play that one first. Could have done that, but I'm assuming they have burn. Yeah, it's a Izzet tempo deck. So we're gonna have some problems here, I think. Shoot. We can put this on, he's gonna get blown off right away. We're gonna wait. We got what are we gonna get? Try one. We will keep that. It's a lot. We'll do that. Yeah, that's so we played a tempo deck already in best of one and got crushed. So it's more smooth than this one in my opinion, so we'll see. We're not going to be able to keep Dorat. They got better counter magic than this deck does too. But we'll give it a shot. Do I want an opt? I'm going to go for another one. There we go. We'll do that. We're going to try for skulls. Either way, there they go. Yeah. Bummer. Bummer, bummer, bummer. That's okay. We'll try it. We are gonna get worked by this deck. Oh well. Let's see here. Yeah, I think we're toast. 8, we can push back. They're going to get better. Let's just go to the next game. We're going to sideboard and see what we can do. Not a good matchup. Not a good matchup. So what we need to do is... we can go these two. We're going to need the red cap melee. I'm going to grab these ones, actually. Essence Scatter, Disdainful Stroke. I actually am going to play that. So Annul, Toast, Stern Dismissal's okay. Dranth, Creature, Counter Non. I don't like that one. Royal Eruption is not going to do a lot for us. Shredded Sails could. Hits the flyer. Brazen's not as good here. So we don't really hit anything. We can block their flyers, but it's not going to do much. All right, so here's what we're going to try. We're going to try this. Not the biggest fan of it, but we will try it. All right, let's see if we can come back here against Kazi. We will play first. Horrible, 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 horrible mana. We'll keep 6. We'll dump that one. Really bad. Really bad. It's unfortunate. It feels like we have a good day, then we have a bad day. And that's what I always tell people. It's always a good day, and it's always a bad day. Today is a rough one. So I can push the Riddle form back. We'll see, though. I do really like this tempo deck. I did play this one a couple days ago, I think. You guys check that out. It's solid. Ooh. No, we do not want that. Gotta keep trying, my friends. Of course. Of course. Oh my gosh. A little less than scatter that guy. Probably better there, but because the scatter would have been better on the dragon at 5. Oh. Oh my gosh, I just cannot believe the draw luck today. Get that thing out of here. Ooh. The question is, what do we play here? Nothing. That's what we do. We play nothing. Because we gotta wait. They're gonna play the dragon here soon. Maybe. Maybe not. They can certainly outgun us. I'm not gonna play that yet. So we'll hit it. We'll see if I can slip it. They got 2 though, so they're good. And they have Into the Multiverse. We're not gonna go anywhere here, my friends. Actually, let's do this. Let's see if we can shut them down. Well, no Into the Multiverse. So we're still alive. We could play the Phoenix next. Ooh. I'm gonna do this. We'll see if we can get it on the board. Oh, shoot. Oh, it could be close. This could be close. Oh. The tempo deck, it is. All right, Planeswalkers, that is enough for today. We are not going to go on tilt. But we do have some final thoughts about the deck, as always. So let's go ahead here. Just lost all kinds of ground. So all good. That's why we play these things. It happens. We can't run hot all the time. We can't run cold all the time. We know that. So let's go ahead here and check out the deck. So again, this was a top 100, 200 deck by Holy Diva. They did run roughly like 70-80% with this deck in best of 3. So honestly, from my final thoughts here, I'm even on initial thoughts, I would say I'm kind of surprised. So maybe it's time of day. I don't know. Maybe I'm a terrible Magic player and they're just that much better than me. But hey, anyway, best of 1, we went 0-3. Struggled against the aggro decks, not surprised. Struggled against the Lifegain deck, not surprised. Again, not enough direct damage. You can certainly pull things back, but it does not solve for the problems. We had a little bit of inconsistency kind of at the top end here too. So it becomes a challenge. You certainly need Sprite Dragon on early. And you got to keep this thing on the board. If you can do that, it's all right. But other than that, and that's the same way that the either the Tempo or Spells deck was in Zendikar's Rising. And honestly, that one I had really low on the tier list. So even in best of 1, I honestly, you guys, I'm going to go with at the top end, maybe bottom of tier 2, certainly a tier 3 deck, given how it played today. And then moving into best of 3, again, we hit a Tempo deck, and the Tempo just certainly crushes this one. So I would sooner play Tempo than this one. And in best of 3, we lost there too. Given the matchups that we hit in the best of 1, 2, and kind of the best of 3 gameplay, can you move things around with this board? Yes. Is there way too much? Yes. At least that's kind of my opinion. So in terms of this, though, I think best of 3 too, at best, maybe low tier 2. I would continue to put this in a tier 3 deck. Certainly, can you make it the top 100? Obviously, is this something that I think I would ride to the top 100? I don't know. I don't know if I could, to be honest. So maybe it was just the matchups that I hit today, but that is how it is, and that is the way it goes. So with that said, Planeswalkers, I do hope you enjoyed today's deck. It's certainly different. It's a nice take, I will say, on the spells list that we had from last season. Additionally, going from the Izzet to a Jeskai, I certainly think the change here with the Jeskai for the white for Showdown of the Skulls is a nice top end. And additionally, I think it's good in terms of the sideboard, to be honest. So I like the additions. Would the one land change up here help me? No, probably wouldn't have. We did hit the Temple of Enlightenment one match though. So with that said, Planeswalkers, hope you guys had fun today. Nonetheless, it was not as a success as we've had, so it happens. And that's the way it goes. But again, just giving the look and feel and play here today, not super confident like I mentioned. So probably in terms of the middle of the pack to the low end of the pack. So with that, as always, Planeswalkers, truly I appreciate your support. Please feel free to subscribe down over there. Additionally, like the video if you like it. You can like me on Facebook and follow me on Twitter and Twitch. Stay up to date on content like this. Starting to roll out a little bit more live stream stuff. So guys, please feel free to join me there. And with that, as always, Planeswalkers, you stay safe. We'll see you again soon. And until next time, Mythras out.